What's up, guys? This is Kiodiekin. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video review, we have the brand new and exclusive YouYeeToo R1 single board computer. This is a ARM single board computer using the Rk3588 chip, which we've done a few reviews on here on this specific channel. Now, if you guys have not seen my other video with the YouYeeToo X1 single board computer, that is an x86 single board computer. Pretty much comes from the same family, and this company makes some seriously impressive stuff. So I can't wait to get into it. They actually sent this over a few weeks ago. Had a chance to kind of really dive into it just a little bit, check out some of the performances. But if you guys are familiar with the Rk3588 specs, we'll quickly go over them. This board has a Rk3588 as 8-core processor. It has 4 cores. One is A76. The other 4 are Cortex A55 using an ARM Mali G610 MP4 video encoder. Comes complete with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Has a RJ45 gigabit Ethernet adapter for some high speeds. Has 4 USB ports. 3 of them are USB ports 2.0. One is a USB 3.0 port. So I'll be very interested to see exactly what the overall speed and performance is on this single board computer. Has an HDMI 2.1 and capable of 8K video playback. Now, the reason why I say that, I'm really curious to see what the performance will be. If you guys are familiar with the Orange Pi 5, the Rk 5, and a couple of other boards that are out there, both of them are using the same type of chip, the Rk3588 performance chip on here. Now, the Orange Pi 5, typically when you run some type of Geekbench test on here, will give you a better performance reading than the Rk Pi chip. And I do believe that the Rk Pi 5, and I do believe that could be because the Rk Pi 5 has additional connectors on there, which may cut into the performance. So this will be a very interesting test because this one has more connections than the Orange Pi 5. And so we will get those results and get those up here for you for that video review today. But again, the company did send this over for review. However, all of my thoughts and opinions on this board are completely of my own. But man, I tell you, they make some great stuff, because I had to pick up a few more of those X1 single board computers. But anyway, let's quickly dive into it and look at the excitement, the power, and the performance of what this board has to offer. And ideally, I do believe this is made for all of your hobbyists out there. If you're into robotics or any other type of heavy machinery or projects where you need to do multitasking, this is what kind of the board that you do pretty much need to get. And they are backed. I do believe that this company does offer a lot of great software support compared to some of the other ARM single board computers out there. Definitely one of my go-tos, so let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so a few other details about this board. If you want to purchase this, it is available right now. You can go directly to Amazon to the YouYeeToo website. They do have it currently available in different sizes of RAM and also eMMC storage. And it's pretty cool that they added eMMC storage. A lot of the boards nowadays don't come with it, but right now when I do my grading system, I do recommend most of these single board computers definitely need to have some type of eMMC storage, so it's a lot easier to boot an operating system on here. Now, this is retailing its starting point for $99.99. and it definitely goes up from there. You can currently install either Android 13, Debian 11, Ubuntu 22.04, as well as other various front ends. Now, some of you may be wondering, because I do a lot of videos with RetroPie, I'm going to try to see if my other RetroPie for the Rk3588 boots on here, but I don't plan, or, well, you guys will have to pretty much wait and see if I do any other form of development on this particular board, because it would pretty much kind of perform the same way as one of the other boards out there, but you guys have to wait and see for that. But yeah, again, this is currently available on Amazon for $99. $99, and there are a number of different accessories that you can also purchase with that as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and quickly get into this. All right, let's see what we got. All right, looks like they included a heat sink. Looks like it may have some type of thermal padding on here, which is really nice to see. We have the board itself, and it looks like we have the power supply. So this is pretty much standard with what they send over for the X1 single board computer. And this one's a little different. If you guys noticed, a lot of the single board computers are using a USB-C format of some type. However, it looks like the YouYeeToo company has adjusted and adapted, just going with a barrel connector. Now, I believe the reason for this is for industrial use. I did speak to one of the owners, or the one of the reps, I'm sorry, for that company, and particularly they go with the barrel adapter because it has some type of industry standard, and you can use it in warehouses and different factories. But that was the reason why I was given as to why they prefer this method instead of USB-C. Personally, I prefer USB-C because if you wanted to use it with a portable battery, then that is optional for you. All right, let's go ahead again and open this up. I've actually done this a few times already. Wanted to make sure I had a nice unboxing presentation for all of you. And here we are with the YouYeeToo R1 single board computer. In fact, let me go ahead and lay this out next to its brother sister type device. This is the X1. So you guys have a better size comparison of the board. This is the X1. This is the X86 form factor. It comes included with the heatsink and whatnot. And this is the R1. So the only difference is this one has a standard heatsink with it. There's no additional fan or anything included. This one has 4 USB ports here. You have USB 3.0, you have 2 USB 2.0s here. You also have another USB-C connector. So, it does have USB-C. So let's see if we can also power it with that device. I'm not sure if this is going to be for video out only, but we may be able to get some power out of this. I don't want to mislead you guys. Let's go ahead and double check that. We also have our standard HDMI jack connector there as well. I really like that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at the full view of the board. I'm going to try to bring this as close as possible. Make sure we stay in focus here. All right, we have our DC power jack here. These are our red and green LED indicators. We have our HDMI connector here. We have our RJ45 Ethernet port as well. And I want to double check something. I know this box said it had let's see, we have 3 USB 2.0 ports. So let's see, I see 1, 2, and then 1 USB 3.0. So unless there's another USB port here, maybe that's just a typo. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of the board. We have our power jack here, and as well as 2 additional microphones. Now, the microphone jacks are listed here and here, and see if there are any at the bottom. The one cool thing about the YouYeeToo company is, even here on the X1, is they have an analog and a digital microphone. I don't know if you guys could really see it. They have a microphone there. So you really typically don't see many single board computers adding on a microphone. The sound quality is actually pretty great, but we'll test it on this one, but that's a nice little key feature to get at an entry-level price of $99, because even right now there are a lot of other single board computers that don't have that form of technology, and you're paying pretty much the same price or a little bit more. So that's an extra added incentive in terms of buying a device like this. Over here, we have our 3.5 millimeter jack. If you guys want to use a headphone, we have our M.2 key here, which allows you to install your Bluetooth or Wi-Fi adapter. Down here at the bottom, we have our reset key, which allows you to reset the unit to its full capacity. We have our power button, which allows you to turn it on and off. You also have a recover button here. Wow, they pretty much loaded this thing. So you have a reset, power, recover, and a boot option as well. Down here on the front, we have two different MIPI connectors. This is the MIPI CSI1. And over here to the right of it, we have our MIPI DSI0 MIPI connector. So this is where we would install our additional LCD screen for full connectivity. Over here, we have our full 30-pin GPIO UART port here. This allows for if you want to install fans or any other form of additional connectors, as well as additional USB devices and hard drives. And then, of course, we have our Rk3588 chip. Definitely can't miss that. So that's what it will be powering the board. That is a very nice chip. I mean, regardless of what kind of project that you want on here, this board could pretty much tackle it on. Now, if you guys are planning much using this something for, let's say maybe gaming or emulation, a lot of that isn't really developed for this particular board as of yet. However, if you want to use currently on the market, one of the best front ends or operating systems for gaming, I would recommend using something like Daijai Show, which is Android based. It's already developed. I do believe a team that it should already be capable. And typically when you use Android, you get the full aspect of the board if you plan on using something like this for emulation. We have our TF card here. This allows you to install an SD card. I'll have to check and see if you can boot from that. I know typically with the other YouYeeToo, you couldn't boot from that. I'm not sure if that was just within the software itself of the unit, but this is where you're allowed to install your SD card. And then over here, we have an additional USB 2.0 port as well. So okay, so that is the additional USB port here. Pretty unique place to put it. I didn't realize it would be in the form of a pen type connector. So we do have our 1, 2, 3, and 4 over here on the side. Wow, so this is, man, they always sneak some stuff in here and it's always pretty amazing. All right, so let's take a look at the bottom of the board here. Down here on the bottom, we have our NVMe SSD 4G connector here. So if you want to add an additional board for either storage, or if you want to get the cellular adapter, they sell them on the website. You guys can check them out. This allows you to get mobile capacity or mobile capability on this. In fact, you don't see most of that on a lot of these single board computers. This board particularly looks like it does have 4 forms of MIPI connectors. You have another MIPI CSI0 and another MIPI DS1 DSI connector here. And then over here you have a port for our fan if we want to go ahead and connect the fan. I don't have an additional one that would fit this pin header type, so I would have to skip that. And then over here to the left, we have an RTC connector and a debug UART to plug in your additional peripherals. And before we move forward, here's the full interface diagram on the front and the back of the R1 single board computer. All right, and just for a quick size comparison, we're going to bring out another leading single board computer. This is the Orange Pi 5 with the same Rk3588 chip. See, there's a size there with the case on it. Again, this one has additional or more connectors on here, which is really good to have. Both of them have USB-C as well, except this one has USB-C and it has that additional barrel jack connector on here as well. In fact, I'll lay them kind of side by side so you guys get a good idea and good look. Looks like YouYeeToo decided to take the approach and have all of their peripheral connections pretty much on one side of the board, you know, for the most part. So ideally, when you get this type of board or get the R1, it's ideally made for artificial intelligence, advertising machines, smart homes, and other complied computer fields. So if you are looking for a robust, ideal single board computer that can kind of do it all, this is the one that will pretty much do it for you if you are looking for something using a ROC type chip, which is one of the leading chips that is on the market right now. Additionally, something else that this company typically offers is something called the NFC, which is the near field communication chip. If you guys are familiar, when you go to the store, you're able to put your card or maybe your cell phone up to the display where it's able to take payment. You can get an additional device or accessory, hook that up to this device, this single board computer, and it will process your transactions. Again, that's something else you typically don't see with single board computers is the YouYeeToo company is always pretty much ready, not only by providing you a board, but with additional accessories that's fully capable of meeting its demand. Now, again, with this Rk3588 chip and with this board, they come in 4 different variants, 4, 8, 16, and 32 gigabytes of memory. Again, we'll get this plugged in. I'm not sure which model they sent me. For review, looks like this one is an 8 gigabyte, 64 gigabytes. So this has 64 gigabytes of eMMC storage. So that's a pretty nice size. I'm really glad they sent that over. I have some additional cards and stuff that we could use for boot purposes, but that's pretty much a nice side to kind of start off with. And if you are using this for any kind of gaming or any type of project, 8 is pretty much the standard now. I wouldn't recommend 4 too much unless you're just using it to type up documents and so forth, because there's some additional processes that you can use, like maybe if you're using it for gaming, for example, shading, or you can also use double emulation. But 8 to 16 is typically where you want to go with this. 4 will work, but I would make sure that you have a very specific need for only 4 gigabytes. But again, for myself, I would preferably recommend anywhere between 8 or 16 variants if you're going to choose something for a major project. 16 is also nice. 32, I'm not sure if they have the 32 gigabytes available yet, but you guys can check their website and get more information about which model better suits you. Now, taking another look at the 30-pin socket here, we have our GPIO header. This is a 3-way 12C. This is primarily made for you hooking up all of your additional external devices. Frequency supports up to 400 kilobytes, but at the same time, this also supports 7-bit and 10-bit addressing nodes and up to 32 bytes of data transfer at 1 interrupt pole. This also supports down here, we look at our 3-way UART, supports 5, 6, 7, and 8 data bits. So you guys are going to get a lot of good functionality out of the performance of this board, as well as the additional specs and things that you need for your additional projects. We have a 6-channel 10-bit effective digital to analog converter located here. And again, this supports full Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I believe it supports Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 5.0, and then on Wi-Fi it supports 5.2. So that way you guys 3 times the amount of speed as you typically would with any other board. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing plugged in. We're going to get an OS installed. I'm not sure if I'm going to have, sometimes I like to try to install 2 different operating systems. But today I think we'll kind of start off with the basics in terms of what we offer. And then of course we'll follow up with some other subsequent video reviews and give you our overall impressions and how they compare to some of the other boards on the leading market. All right, but before I move on, I definitely want to mention that the company did send over an additional LCD screen, just like they did with the X1 single board computer. So now we do have 2 of these. Just pop these up here. So this is the original LCD screen that they sent over, 7-inch touchscreen that they sent over with the X1. And so now we have an additional one here for the R1 computer here. As well as, I knew I saw these earlier, they just were to the side of me. We have our additional Wi-Fi adapter and antennas. So we will get these hooked up and installed as well so we can run some additional speed tests. All right, and we are finally booted up here on the desktop, here on the YouYeeToo R1 single board computer. This is a variant of Android that we're using that the company provided. This was already preloaded onto the eMMC. And just gets to give you guys a heads up, this is probably one of the nicest operating systems I've seen on one of these single board computers. Typically, if you guys are familiar with the boards that are out there, we don't need to mention any names. Sometimes you got to translate the language. It comes in a different language, then you got to use Google Translator or something on your phone, Google Lens, to see what language is transferred to, and then to see if you got to transfer it over into English. However, everything is already preset up here, at least for me anyway, so we could go ahead and complete this review. All right, decided to go ahead and boot back up, and at the top of the screen, you can see that is our search browser. I can't remember the exact name of this. I think it's called Light or something. It's not Google Chrome, but that allows me to browse and surf the internet, so I can go ahead and take a look at everything. But for the most part, you guys are familiar with Android. You got your 3 buttons down there at the bottom of the screen for quickly navigation, and we also have some additional options here that allows us to take a look at our photos and access the settings menu. We're going to go in here into our calendar just to kind of browse around, and this operating system is pretty fast. I know some people have mentioned in the past they don't like eMMC storage, but it is a requirement for me to really meet my standards. Now again, there's Lightning, we have our camera, we have our contacts, we have our settings, we have our internet access. I had to go ahead and hook that up, as well as already having the Wi-Fi module installed. It did take a few minutes in order for the Wi-Fi to detect, and even though I already have it hooked up. We have our Bluetooth devices, and we're going to click on our Bluetooth devices to see what it does see currently within the house. And the Bluetooth is working by default with the Wi-Fi adapter. You guys can see here on the screen, it'll pop up. You can see the additional items I have in my house that we can hook up to. We have our battery meter, which we typically don't need. We are hardwired in. We are using the barrel jack connector, and that is a standard barrel jack. I think it's 12 volt 3 amp power supply. It is the same one with the YouYeeToo X1 single board computer, and it's the same one that is also included with a lot of the other mini PCs on the market. All right, we have our hotspot and tethering. Just some additional settings here. I'm just going to show you guys around a little bit while I kind of figure out my way around. There's our gallery for windows and pictures. For photos and videos. Go back down here to our options. And again, I've never seen this browser before called Lightning. Typically it's Google Chrome, or you have some type of other Safari browser or something, whatnot, whatever the operating system has. But again, I've never seen this one before. You also have your option there on the right hand side of that to look at your music. All right, here's our device list here. We have our Samsung Series TV. That's the one I have in the house, as well as my LG SN4A sound system, which I currently have hooked up to my computer. So the Bluetooth device is working. It's pretty nice to see. Just checking out some of the additional systems here, see if anything else pops up. All right, and we have our Lightning. This is our browser again. This is the Lightning browser here. We're just going to do some YouTube videos here. Now, again, even though all of these type of boards using the Rk3588 chip are advertised for 4K and 8K, keep in mind it is not a true representative of that type of process. What I mean is that even though we're watching maybe an 8K or 4K YouTube video, these videos are compressed, so you're not getting the full experience. So again, we're just using this test just to show you how fluid the video playback is on this operating system using this particular board. But I would have to do a subsequent video of running maybe an 8K or 4K video to see its true playback functions. Just taking a look at the settings here, we're going to pull up Stats for Nerds, pull up exactly, see if we're getting any type of frame rate drops, and look at its overall performance. And as you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my settings. We're turning up the video quality here on the YouTube video. It did take a little while for it to adjust. That could just be maybe an operating system here, or maybe I had a couple of hiccups directly with the video. But let's take a look at the playback and see what kind of results we get. This is pretty impressive. In fact, I think this is probably the first single board computer, at least with ARM anyway, where or at least I've only had one frame drop playing back in 8K video, 4K. I think this video is only showing optimal resolution at about 1080p at 60 frames per second, but this is probably the first board I've seen only drop run frame with about a few seconds or at least a minute or two of actual playback. So just even knowing this is the full capability of what you're getting with this board right out of the box, this is a tremendous so even though this is something that you get pretty much right out of the box, this is really impressive to see with this kind of performance. Now on my end, I'm not getting any stuttering, I'm not getting any hiccups, and also too, I definitely want to mention to you guys, sometimes when we do YouTube video reviews and we're using capture cards, I've had this happen on my Raspberry Pi 4, for example, but for whatever reason, sometimes it takes a performance hit when we're using a capture card. So even factoring in I'm using my capture card, I'm not getting any hiccups or any type of delay on my end, even while I was recording this and also while I'm editing this video, uploading it to YouTube. But right now we're at roughly with 5,700 frames, and we've only had one frame drop and we're full screen. I can't even remember if I even got that on the Orange Pi 5. I'd have to go back and look at some of my videos. You guys could do that to kind of get a better comparison. But again, this is only indicative of a YouTube optimization. Typically, if you're using YouTube, let's say if you're looking at a 4K 60 frame per second video, because it's compressed, that's probably equal to about 1080p. And then if you're looking at a 1080p video, that's probably equivalent to 780 because it is compressed. Now, I can't wait to see. I'll have to do this in a subsequent video using my drone footage, true 4K. I also have some truly rendered 8K videos and see what kind of performance we can get on this board with that. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps it up here for my tutorial and review of the YouYeeToo R1 single board computer. Make sure you check out their community page. I know they have a small community. There's probably like 20 guys in their Facebook group. But if you have any help, if you need any assistance, go directly to their website, and they do have a community forum there. I've spoken to a few of the guys. There's a growing community with that. But this company continues to impress me. They've been very generous. Can't say this again, both this one, the R1 and the X1, they did send over for review, and I'm really happy about that. You know, I'm really glad when a company can reach out, establish some type of partnership. I really have a really fun time talking about their products, and they represent a number of different products, not just single board computers. They also have mini PCs, but they even sell some Raspberry Pis on there too, for the most part. But they are based out of China. But if you want to buy this right now, check the link in the description of this video where you can buy this unit either directly through their Amazon store, or you could go directly to their YouYeeToo website. Again, I really love their products. They seem to offer a fresh new mindset when bringing single board computers to the market. And as always, make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. I will have updates in regards to this video as far as some additional performance tests. I can't wait to see you guys later. Peace out. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Catch you later.